I remember when I first heard that song in 1969, when the Beatles released that album, Abbey Road. And it was all about coming together over Paul. Remember the whole thing that Paul had died and they were coming over that? Today it's got a different meaning for me. This whole idea of coming together is the idea of awakening to the fact that we have a human and we have a spiritual essence. And when we bring those two together, we can live in this world in a state as a conscious creator. What I fully understand is that one of my favorite affirmations is there's a power within me that is acting through me and acting for me that consciously creates all that I desire. When I really break that down, it comes into very essence, and we'll go biblical on this just a little bit. And in the Bible, it talks about it is the Father within. It is the power within you. Jesus would say, it is not I, it is the power of the Father within me. And so all Jesus ever taught was this idea, it is done unto you as you believe, and as you connect the power of belief to the connect that the power of the Father is within you, you bring them together and you become a creative vessel where you are consciously creating, not unconsciously creating. And so most of my life, I have been considered, it's going to surprise you, a very direct. I've been considered very not heart-centered. I've been considered someone who is very bold and at times inappropriate. And I want you to know I embrace all of those qualities because they're exactly who I choose to be. And you're going to say, what is this guy talking about? I'm going to share with you an instance about what I mean. The other day, I'm having lunch with someone that I know very well. And we're going on, and I'm hearing the story. And it's a complaint. It's complaining about a relationship that no longer is. It's a story about complaining about it and how it's impacting them. Complaining about how it's impacting. Complaining and how it's impacting. Complaining and how it's impacting. Complaining. You're getting where I'm going. And finally I said, so, I can tell you right now that I'm a psychic. And I says, I can predict in this very moment that you will continue to have the exact experience that you're complaining about. They stepped back. What do you mean? I said, the more you talk about something, the more you become a vibrational match to it, the more you attract to it. And that's what my talk title is today. Every complaint that we make is a prayer. Every time we open our mouth and we complain, we are praying. We are making a declaration into the very mind of God that we want more of it. Because the mind of God doesn't care what we pray for. The mind of God doesn't judge. The mind of God says, who are you? What do you believe? What is the essence? What do you have feeling behind? And do you think that when someone's complaining, they have a lot of feeling behind it? I know as this session went on, the emotion got bigger and bigger and bigger. And when we have thoughts and we build emotion behind it, we don't realize it, but we are giving tremendous power to that. And the more emotion we've got to it, the more we speak it, the more we think it, the more it's going to demonstrate much faster in our lives. And so I want to break down and really go into this idea of prayer because we've been taught prayer as that we say these specific words. That's not what prayer is. Prayer is the process of directing our subconscious mind toward a desired result. In other words, we understand that we have a conscious mind that is thinking maybe 5% of the time. And we have a subconscious mind where a majority, all of our thoughts really rest. And it is in the subconscious mind that we connect with others. That's where consciousness resides. That's how you're able to hear me. You see, if there wasn't an overall consciousness and you weren't part of it, you could not receive and hear my message in any way. But it's through consciousness that we're able to receive. So when we're directing the process, what we're doing is we're shifting. We're shifting what we want to a new mental atmosphere. By mental atmosphere, I mean we're creating a thought process that becomes the predominant nature of what we are. So if you know me, you know where my process is. You know what my thought atmosphere is. So you can predict by my thought atmosphere what I'm going to create in my experience. So if you're talking with someone and let's say you're at a cocktail party or you're at a barbecue or you're somewhere and for 5 minutes you're listening to someone talk, you know by the nature of what they're saying, what they're creating in their life. You don't have to look at what they've got. You know by what their thought atmosphere of what they're talking about. And it's fascinating, as we were at a wedding last night and I would listen to people as they would talk, I knew exactly where they were. Because I knew that where they were coming from in that thought process told me everything about who they were. And it told me what they were going to experience. And you see, when you go to a psychic, what I've come to understand about the psychic is just sensitive to energy. And energy is what you are. Energy is your energy that goes out is a vibration of the energy that you are. And that vibration of energy, the frequency of that energy, is a result of your overall thought pattern. So if you become sensitive, you all can do this. You ever walk into a room and know that the person you want to talk to is not in the right mood and you shouldn't talk to them? What are you doing? You're reading the energy, right? And yet we go and we talk to them. Why would you do that? You can't change their mood. Any guy here ever try to change the mood of a woman at any time or anyone? And has it ever worked? No. I've learned when my wife gets in a mood, let her be in a mood. And when she wants to come out of the mood, she will come out of the mood. I have zero power. Zero power. But if I get into it and I feed it, I'm going to take her down further into that. And where am I going to go? I'm going to go into the cellar as well. Or as we proverbially say, the doghouse. And I used to get in the doghouse an awful lot as a young man. So, prayer is anything that we do that directs the process of our subconscious mind. It's how we think. It's how we speak, it's how we act, how we feel. So what is it? If prayer really is the key to living a conscious life, shouldn't we be choosing only those things that are directed toward the result that we want? Why don't we do that? Because we just forget. We don't realize that the power is within us. We get caught up in a habit. Most of our thinking is a habit that we've created throughout our lives and we don't even know that we're doing it. Most of our responses are unconscious in nature. Walk into a shower, I guarantee you, when you walk into a shower, each person here has a set routine and there's one thing they do first. Mine is my head goes under the water, I grab the soap, and into the left armpit it goes. I've tested it. And even when I try not to, I want to go, well, wait, I'll take it with this hand and go into this armpit. It doesn't feel good. Why? Because I got to break a habit. It's the same thing on the golf course. If you have a habit of a specific swing and you're going to slice, the tendency is 80% of the time you're going to slice. You've got to break the habit of the swing, meaning you've got to choose a new way of being in stance, having your grip, the way you follow through with the club. It may be the way you line up. It may be the way you think as you swing. It may be your back follow through. It could be all of those things. But if you don't change, you're going to have the same result over and over again. A slice. So that's prayer. So now I want you to go and look at complaining. If you think about complaining, it never, ever attracts what you desire. So why would you do it? It only perpetuates what you have and what you don't result. So when people tell me I'm too direct, they tell me that I'm not heart-centered, would you rather have a person in your life who's saying, I'm not going to listen to your complaint. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you want to experience. Tell me what you desire. Tell me what would make you feel good. How can I support you creating a new process of thought, that you create a new mental atmosphere, that you create your own life? Wouldn't that be the person you want to be around? If you're in a relationship with someone, whether it be a father, a mother, a husband, a wife, a life partner, a child, whatever it is, wouldn't you want to be with someone who would stop you when you're taking yourself down and say, whoa, time out, let's look at this from a different aspect? So how does spiritual practice work in here? I really love this when this came to me the other day. When you meditate, you stop thought. You simply focus on your breath for however long you do it. What you're doing in meditation is you're literally taking a tiller and you're tilling up the soil. You're creating the soil so that the soil is ready to plant into, right? So now you've meditated, you've cleared all thoughts, and the soil is there, it's ready. And now you start thinking thoughts. You plant thoughts in with affirmations. You plant thoughts in with prayer. You plant thoughts in with gratitude. And when you plant them in, it's going into the soil, and the soil is perfect. It receives the seed. It receives the seed that you're planting, whatever that is. It's right there. It's perfect. And then all of a sudden, you come across a friend. And this friend is one you like to complain to. And you start complaining to this friend. What happens? You start throwing weeds into the soil. And what happens? The weeds like to grow faster than the other seed because the weeds are more of a tendency that we've got. So the weeds grow, and the weeds grow faster than the seeds that we planted. What do? They choke out the plants. And so then we come back and we'll meditate the next day. We'll calm the soil down to a degree, but we may not have gotten as many weeds out because we've done too much complaining. We planted too many weeds. You see where I'm going with this? So the key thing is that you meditate. You clear the soil. You prepare it. Then you plant the seed, the thoughts that you desire through affirmations, through prayer, through gratitude, through forgiveness work, by letting go. And then what you do is every moment of every day you nurture that. You do the best you can so that a majority of your thought is going in the direction of what you want. The majority of your prayer, the majority of what you're speaking to others about. People would love to support you. See, this is where relationships are built for. The reason Jean and I maintain our relationship, because I'll tell her, this is what I want. And so what she does is she supports me by feeding me thoughts. When I'm off base, she comes to me and says, stop, you're off base. I don't want to hear that from you. Go back and meditate some more. Go back and do some affirmations. Go back, and we do this back and forth. And that allows us to expand and grow. Now the relationship that you can have, like I have with my wife or with my sons, the relationship you have is one of meaning. It's a meaning that takes you forward. Without a relationship like that, why be in relationship? I ask that of couples all the time. I said, you're complaining about him, complaining of you. Why don't you two just get divorced? There's no point staying together if you're miserable. The only reason we come together in relationship is to support and grow each other and to have fun while doing it. Here's the key, though. It doesn't matter where you are in your life, no matter how old you are, whether you're in a relationship, out of a relationship, you start doing this right this very moment. Right this very moment, you stop, you meditate, you plant a new seed, and you nurture that seed with thoughts that affirm it, thoughts that support it, feelings. Put your feelings behind it. Imagine and close your eyes. What would it be like to be centered in this place where I am living my dream? I'm doing what I love to do. I'm being the authentic man or the authentic woman that I want to be with everyone I'm with. Did you hear the word everyone? So no matter who you draw into your life, you want to be that magnificent, supporting, loving, caring person with them. Because when you do that, they have no choice but to support you back. And then it becomes a give and receive of love. You see, when we're supporting and accepting, that's love going back and forth. And that's perfect. We've done this before. And it's a very difficult thing to go 30 days and to not complain. And if you complain, you start day one all over again. We actually handed out wristbands, and we gave people wristbands so that if they complained, they would take it and they would move it to the other side. I promise you this, if you accept that challenge and you go until you get 30 days without complaining, you won't recognize how good your life is. You won't recognize how good your relationships are. And I promise you, after 30 days, you won't ever want to complain again. I challenge you, give it a try. So now we're going to pray. I want to thank you for joining us today. I am so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message. If you found this message beneficial, I would ask you to go to our website. Once there, click on the Contribute button and experience the joy of conscious and purposeful giving. It is through your gifts that we are able to bring this message to the world. I would also ask you to please share this message with anyone you feel might benefit. Again, I want to thank you for joining me and the Agape community as together we bring joy to life.